They say once a brother, always a brother. Well, but what happens when that brotherhood extends beyond leather and chrome to include anyone struggling to find their way? Troy Koerntjes learned the true meaning of loyalty and support within an outlaw motorcycle club, discovering bonds that most people never experience. But his greatest transformation came when he realized those same practices, same principles, unwavering support, genuine connection, and never leaving a brother behind could be the key to helping others heal from their deepest wounds. In this final part of Troy's extraordinary journey, we witness how the Brotherhood of the Road became a blueprint for the Brotherhood of Healing. If you missed part 1 and 2, please go back and watch those first. It does make sense, if so. But here up to the final part with Troy. It's really sad, but we're going to have Troy back in the meantime, in the near future, because we could talk for hours. Anyway, here's Troy for part 3. Enjoy.
Very, very bad relationship, and it's probably one of the things I'm most grateful for that ever happened to me, because that was my conduit of change. It really, really was. That toxic relationship, that injury, and around that same time, about 3 months after I left that relationship, my brother died as well. So all of these things happened all in a pretty tight space of time, and without them, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I think I'd still probably be just partying. I'd like to think that I would have changed by myself eventually, but you've got to hit rock bottom before you go back up.
And you went on.
It was the hurt. It was the hurt of not wanting to go through anything like that again. That changed me. Yeah.
But did you go further downhill then?
I was already in a pretty bad place, but my psychologist was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what happened was, when I got in this relationship, I introduced her to my psychologist very quickly, and my psychologist pre-warned me and said, that's all I'm going to say about it. And by then I'd been love bombed, and I was in hook, line, and sinker. So we were together for 2 years, and I walked into the psychologist's office, plopped down on the couch, crying my eyes out, and I was like, it's done. We've broken up. I've kicked her out. And my psychologist leaned forward. She put her hand on my knee and went, I've been waiting and preparing you for this for 2 years. I knew this was going to happen. And I was just like, wow. And I spiraled hard for about a year, really hard. I had full intrusive thoughts, like just thoughts I could not get rid of. It was like a constant explosion in the back of my head. I went through massive withdrawals, just like an addiction. And that's why I can say people fill the void on studying narcissism and studying all that type of stuff, because when they leave, you've created this future for yourself, and everything in your future is about this person. And if you've had no meaning and purpose for yourself and identity, and you've got that off this person, and now they've gone, now you don't know what the hell to do. You don't know who you are without them. You don't know what your future looks like. So when people leave an abusive relationship, they often think they hurt me that much. What's actually happening is they tore the Band-Aid off, and that nobody else has been able to do before. And now all your childhood stuff is coming out at the same time. So a lot of people unfairly blame their toxic partners for all the pain, when a lot of it has to do is why you're with them in the first place. They've just opened you up. So if you have just left a toxic relationship, ask yourself, what can you learn from this situation to not let it happen again? And that's a great starting point. Be curious about why you're in that relationship in the first place.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, and that will help you move past it and stay single. Don't go on dating sites. Don't watch porn. And don't flirt. Spend the next 2 years being absolutely single. You're addicted to dating. You're trying to get all your needs met through somebody else. And until you can say, I don't want to date anymore, I'm quite comfortable in my own space and I can sit with myself, until you can say that, until you can start saying, I really need somebody, I really want a partner. Until you can stop saying that, you're not ready for a partner.
Agreed. I've met a few people which I've given advice to. It's like they're in love with the idea of a relationship rather than in love with the actual person.
Yep.
And that's when it just all goes to shit, doesn't it?
Yep, absolutely. It's so what happens is if you're placing all of that on somebody, hear people say a lot they're jealous, like they got jealous partners and things like that, and that's their insecurities. So all
Yeah.
this is it's two people with full blown insecurities in a relationship together that have never been able to unmesh from their parents. So instead of being two individual people living a life, adding value to each other's lives, but still leading separate lives, they're both just in the life together. They've become one person. So you see, anybody who posts that meme, two hearts become one, two broken hearts become one. No, they don't, because if you both had one heart, you would die. Two people cannot live on one heart. I'm sorry to tell you. They did two broken hearts, make two more broken hearts. That's all it does. And you'll end up hurting each other. So you want to heal so that way you're not placing, because if you place all your insecurities on somebody else, that's a lot of pressure. And nobody can live up to those expectations all the time. And when you're not healed, you idolize, you devalue. So 1 minute they're perfect, 1 minute they're the worst, instead of there being a gray area. And, well, this person just did something I didn't like, and that's fine, But no, they're the worst person in the world, and that's catastrophizing. It's all part of the trauma.
But you had to go through all of this to understand all of this at a deeper level, right?
Well, I probably mentioned a little bit about 3 or 4 words just then, maybe some people had never heard before.
Yeah.
And that's part of the different learning the different vocabulary, and so you become aware of it. And I always encourage people to get a head knowledge. The problem is, let's say and a lot of people try and get the head knowledge and think that they've healed when you can't heal an emotional problem by thinking. Okay, and a lot of people think they can because something's happened to them in childhood, and they couldn't get away, and instead of feeling all this stuff physically, their body went, I don't want to feel this anymore because this hurts. Your body shuts off being able to process the emotions in your body, and you become an overthinker. So part of the healing process is learning how to reconnect to your body, so that way you can actually, you see them goats when they get scared, they faint, then they shake it off.
Yeah.
You're not shaking it off. Yeah. You're just keeping it all in your body. And that's when you're getting sick. That's when you're getting autoimmune diseases. That's when all this stuff is happening to you.
Yeah.
So until we can learn to connect with our body, and we can do that by learning coping skills and strategies and all these types of things to give us the strength to be able to deal with them.
Yeah.
I always explain it like your brain's like a jellyfish with all these tentacles coming down, right? It's just yours got cut off. Yeah. So what happens is you will learn a skill. You'll become stronger. You'll learn how to deal with something. And one of the tentacles will grow back and join onto your body. And next minute, you're crying on the shower floor, wondering what the hell's going on because yesterday you were happy as hell and now you're a mess again. And then you'll work through that and you'll be good for a few days. And then all of a sudden, one of the boxes in your head, one of the little boxes of trauma, you'll decompartmentalize that, it's called. And then one of these little tentacles will come down, get into your body, and now you're on the bloody bottom of the shower crying again, wondering what the hell's going on. So I like to explain things in this sort of way so that people know what's going on with themselves, because that's one thing I wish I had have had when I was going through my stuff. I'd leave the psychologist going, I feel great. I worked through so much stuff. And then I'd come home and cry for 7 days until the next session and be like, what the hell just happened? So I like to explain the head knowledge. The problem being, coming back to that, is when you've been an overthinker, you think the more you learn, the more you can process. And that's not true. But it's good to have a head knowledge, but you can't get stuck there. You need to work through it. It's the only way. You can't outthink a feeling problem. So you can get all that. And that's another reason why there's a lot of people out there now using AI as a counselor and stuff. It's become like a little trend. So 80% of the therapeutic relationship is being able to mirror somebody that can emotionally regulate.
Yeah.
The computer can't do that for you. It
Mirror
can give
neurons.
you some head knowledge. It can help you realize some stuff, but it can't help you process it, and it can't help you learn to have a relaxed body.
Yeah.
And you need a relaxed body to heal trauma.
It's like that venting. I used to vent quite a lot. I was always, when the first door is opening just be open. I never had that problem. I was always open,
Yeah.
probably too open because I could see the eyes flickering in people and they're probably just done with me going over and over again. But that was the problem, like what you just said there. After your appointment, you go home, you'd feel amazing, but that next day you'd feel shit because what happens with venting, it's powerful, but it's probably powerful short term because once you've released it, it's good to release the undesired emotions, but because you'll need to vent again because you'll need to reset and release those undesired emotions. And what I found was I did have to go through real crisis, even down the track after that, to make myself realize. Get that knowledge, but then turn that knowledge into knowledge. They always say knowledge is powerful, but it's only powerful if you use it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because what you're doing is making the awareness in people, which is getting the knowledge, but then hopefully implementing the support them to actually go through it. And I think that's what I had to do was just sit. I had to sit in the emotions for a lot longer than I thought. Once I built up resilience at a cellular level for myself and understood the power of, looking at nature, looking at food, looking at movement, looking at putting myself through difficult, uncomfortable scenarios, I was able to build myself up. And the emotions, I noticed a lot of the emotions would go away. My fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. I would notice that things would run off my back. Whereas even something happened 2-3 weeks ago, the old Andy would have fucking gone into deep darkness over it. And I dwelled on it for about a day. And once I had the next sleep and I processed and sat in it, I was able to sit in it quicker. And then I can use that as wisdom because the emotion has dropped out of it. It's like I ripped the emotion out of it through going through what I needed to go through. And then I turned it into wisdom.
Yep. And it'll stop coming up for you. That's the thing. If you don't deal with that emotion, the emotion needs to be processed. So until you process it, it will keep fighting, and then you'll get intrusive thoughts, and you won't be able to stop thinking about it. Yeah. And then you'll vent. And when you vent, all you do, if you vent without emotion, all you're doing is re-traumatizing yourself.
Yeah, because you're revisiting the moment. Yeah,
that's exactly right. That's all you're doing, and you're actually making yourself worse.
That's what I was doing on the dog park, was venting every day. It was great for that night because I felt, and then the next day I'll be like, I'm back to where I was.
Yeah.
Yesterday morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I love all this stuff. No, it's so good. But with you back then, and back to that example that you shared in the biker club, and that guy crying. Did you ever go through a tough time in the biker club yourself?
Yeah,
like that guy did?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, through all my injuries and through everything like that, they were there. This was another key point for me. When I was going through all my stuff, I suppressed all my anger when I was younger. I learned early on that if I expressed myself, that I'd be punished for it. So usually when the punishment doesn't fit the crime, children learn to suppress emotions. So, and that's what happened to me. So I didn't feel heard, and that I was like, you know what, I can't deal with this pain. I'm just going to shut it down. There's no point having all that pain. And part of me, this is where we call reintegration. So we want to unpack all those boxes, and we want to learn how to feel emotions again. Because a lot of the shadow work, we're trying to get the emotions that we've shut down out. So I learned getting angry is bad. If I get angry, I'm going to get into trouble. So I shut down angry and become a pushover. Right? However, when you start on your healing journey and somebody rips the top of that anger box off and you're going through therapy, all of you go through this stage of just being angry, and you can rage, and you're like, it becomes a superpower, right? I've gone from being extremely hurt, extremely sad, extremely depressed, which are all negative emotions. When you feel angry, you feel power, you feel control. These are all sort of more positive emotions, and it's a lot better feeling that than that. Okay. And that's where I was at the time. So as soon as I started to get angry, I used to say it was like, ever seen Fantastic Five? The guy goes flame on and he can turn the flames on. I got to a point where I was able to go like be angry, and I could make myself so angry, but to me at the time it was better than just crying my eyes out in the corner of the room for a while. That it got too painful for me for a while. So I used this anger as energy, and I used it as power. And before I really learned how to control it, I started it. You always attack people who you're closest to, because especially when you've come out of a toxic relationship, you want to push people away. Because
Mm.
if you push them away, it's your choice, and that way they're not going to hurt you because it's your choice. You push them away. They didn't have a say in it. So if I push them away before they can push me away, that's cool. So I was going through this anger phase, and I was threatening some of the boys. And I remember one of the sergeants called me, and I just come out of my physio, where I'd found out about all the stuff that was wrong with my back because my doctor had lied to me. He'd been pressured by work cover for me to go back to work, and I was like, I can't move. I don't. And you're telling me there's nothing wrong with me? He's like, you're fine. You're not getting a clearance. You have to go back to work. So I went. My physio office was next door. I went into my physio, and my physio wasn't there that day, and I had a different physio. So the new physio had my paperwork, and he was like, "Oh, yep, this is you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this," and I was like, "You must have somebody else's chart." The doctor said, "I'm fine, I'm good to go back to work," and he went, "Mate, you're never going to work again." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
Mm.
So I remember I walked out. After that session, I walked out, or hobbled out, and I held it in like as much as I could. By the time I got to the door leaving the physio, I had water welling up in my eyes. I was starting to cry. The second I opened the door and nobody saw me, I just went to water. I was crying my eyes out, and I'd been acting pretty erratically for a while. I was hitting the drugs pretty bad. I was hitting the drugs that bad. The actual national president banned me from partying for 3 months and prospected me. Took all my club clothes, took absolutely everything. I was back to being a prospect with no benefits of being in the club at all, and not allowed to drink, not allowed to do drugs, no nothing. So now I'm vulnerable as well. I've got, before I would have gone and had a line or something to cover it, to mask it. Now I'm full vulnerable. The sergeant called me and he's like, "Bro, I've been getting some reports. You've been acting, you've been threatening some of your brothers. You can't be doing that." And I was like, "You know what? Fuck you. I'm going to come and kick your door down and come through your house. Who do you think you are telling me what to do? You don't know what the hell this and that." And he was like, "No worries, bro. Come over. You know where I live." He's like, "Come on, come through the front door." He goes, "We'll punch on." And he goes, "Then I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a kiss. We'll have a couple of beers and we'll talk about it." And that stopped me in my tracks. I thought he was going to be like, "You know what? You're out of the club. Piss off. We're going to come around your house, get all your stuff, blah, 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 blah." That's what I was expecting subconsciously. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Come on, let's do it. I'm your brother. Let's get it on." And I was just like, "What?" Like it just
Would you come back
complete,
to that?
just completely confused me. And I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" And he goes, "I'm your brother." He's like, "I want to know how to help you. You're not yourself." He's like, "I've known you for years, and I know that something's going on. You haven't been yourself for ages. We've all noticed it. We're worried about you, bro." He goes, "None of us can get through to you. We've been trying to get through to you for months." And that triggered a thought because my sister had told me the week before that they were going to lock me up in the loony bin if I didn't pull my head in. And I'm just like, that were her words. And I was just like, wow. I was like, maybe there is something going on with me. And I was like, he's like, "Is there like a key phrase or something I can say to you to pull you out of stuff when you're going off?" And I was like, "If you tell me I'm being irrational when when we're talking about something," I was like, "and give me pause and I'll think about it." And that's what happened. He didn't dob me into the rest of the club for saying I was going to go bash him and stuff. He didn't, because he was probably meant to.
Yeah.
He just told the club that I was going through some stuff and I needed a couple of weeks off and that they should check on me. Didn't dob me in for threatening him, no nothing. And just him catching me on that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, like people are, so that abandonment issues, we've all got, anyone that's been through that sort of life has got abandonment issues. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, this guy's not running away. This guy's not
Mm.
going nowhere. He's still there. And
Yeah.
that changed everything. So all of these things combined gave me a strength to heal. It was the strength of my brothers that allowed me to feel all these emotions, because I don't know if I could have without them. They could come over and I'd be a complete mess, and they'd just sit there and be like, "It's okay, bro. It's all good."
Yeah, wow.
You know. And it was because I had them there as a support. That's why I talk positively about clubs, because that side of it definitely is there. It really, really is.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And you clearly experienced that and that's really probably what changed your life. How long were you in that club after that then, after that moment? And when you, I mean, I'm guessing that was the point where it changed for the positive for you. You got yourself back on track.
So after that point, I started really filling the void. That's when I started studying. It was around that time. So I started volunteering at 2 different community centres. I made a plan that I was going to go to see so many concerts, and I was going to learn a language, and I was going to play guitar, and I was going to study, because I can't go back driving forklifts anymore. I've got to learn something else. And what am I going to do with myself? So I filled the void up. And then, interestingly enough, my psychologist never once talked about drugs. I used to go to her blind, like being up for, 7, 8 days, and she would never brought it up, never mentioned drugs. One day I woke up and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to do drugs anymore. And and I didn't. That was it. And instead of being at the club 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, then I was there 1 day a week, and then sometimes I wasn't even there for 2 weeks. And eventually my cup got so full outside of it that it wasn't my identity anymore.
You didn't need it anymore, did you?
No, now by this stage, I'm helping people in the community. I'm giving advice. I'm doing some pretty cool stuff. I'm building a business, and I'm working with some pretty cool people that have all changed their lives. And I was just like, wow, I think I'm ready. It was the guy that was on life parole that I couldn't be in the same room with. That was the point where I had to leave. But if I'm being completely honest, I'd probably been thinking about it for a good 6 months anyway. It was such a big part of my life, and I was dead loyal, and the brothers had been there for me. I didn't want to leave them. I handed my stuff back crying, and yeah, it was a big deal to leave. It was not an easy decision at all. Yeah.
And were they supportive of you leaving?
Yeah, so one of them joked and said, bro, we were wondering how you were going to keep doing this. Like, how you were going to live both lives, And another brother said, who would we be to stand in your way of you bettering your own life and the life of others, like a life of other people? You're leaving to better yourself. You're not leaving because you're a dickhead. And I'll never forget that. That would, in a way, it made it worse, because then I felt guilty.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, they're so supportive.
How long ago was this then? How long were we talking?
I honestly thought it was about 7 or 8 years, but I had a memory pop up a couple of weeks ago, and it was 5 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
That could have been 5 years ago when you posted about it, though.
No,
it
would have been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before.
I was a pretty
ago.
big poster.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow.
I was pretty loud and proud.
Love it. Well, I feel like we've done a full circle there, really, then, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we've missed that you think is worth sharing, then?
Not that I can really think of, actually. Yeah.
Because you did, so you obviously did your training on that journey. Then you went through a traineeship in drugs and alcohol.
Yeah,
you did much work and reading around psychology. You feel like you've got a degree,
equivalent, something like
equivalent.
that.
Yeah. They just need to sign it off now. Well, you've got it.
Yeah. And a big part of my life was martial arts and training. Okay, so
yes.
I always tell people the most successful people that I know now that have changed their lives, if there's one common thing that they all do, it's train. They all do. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be running. It can be gym. And there's another bit of advice. Don't choose something you hate doing. If you hate lifting weights, don't go lift weights. If you hate running, don't run. There's 1,000 sports out there. There's heaps of different activities you can do. Go choose one of them that you're at least going to have fun doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't choose something just for the sake of doing it.
Is that the one piece, because I always ask at the end, if you've got one piece of advice you can give to somebody that helps change their lives, and maybe someone that's connected with your topics today, and there's many, isn't there? Toxic relationships, difficult scenarios, injuries, etc. What piece of advice would you give somebody to change their life?
The first one, and it still involves exercise, is do your rehab if you're injured.
Yeah.
So many people get into this victim mentality and this learned helplessness. There's another good example of how childhood stuff. Sorry, I'm going to go off again.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So if you were invisible during childhood, okay, you were completely invisible, and you felt like you weren't listened to, but then you get injured. You common one, you do your back injury, okay. Now you've got people doting on you. You've got nurses, doctors, your partner. No, don't lift that. I'll help you. Are you okay? You doing this? You okay? You okay? You okay? All of a sudden, you've subconsciously, you like that.
I know you're going to say, yeah.
It's you're not thinking it consciously, but you're like, well, I'm getting a bit of attention out of this. Maybe I'm only going to half-ass the rehab. Maybe when I go to the pool and I get the noodle, I'm just going to lay on it. And that's my and do a couple of kicks with my legs, and that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah, so true.
There are so, like I told you before, those two guys, one was in a wheelchair and one said he'd never have balance again. You can push your body to amazing things. They said I'd never lift over 2 kilos again. I'm at the strongest I ever have been. They said I'd never do kickboxing again. I've been around the world to 27 different countries and done 27 different martial arts, which was a childhood dream of mine. I'm telling you, if you use a bit of dedication, a bit of effort, that back injury, you can most likely heal it. Any injuries, you can pretty much most likely heal if you put in the effort. And if you can't heal that injury, concentrate on what you can do until you get to a point where you can do what you want to do. Because if you just focus on things that you can't do, you're going to be absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
I couldn't do kickboxing and weightlifting when I first started, but I could go into the pool. My first session, I did 5 minutes with a friggin' kick paddle, and I had to get somebody to pick me up because I couldn't drive the car because my back was spasming that much. I was in pain spasms for a whole week from 5 minutes of hydrotherapy. Then I did 10 minutes of hydrotherapy. Then I did 15 minutes of hydrotherapy. Then I did 2 sessions of 15 minutes. Then I did 3 sessions of 20 minutes. Then I was doing an hour and a half session 3 times a week. And then I was doing it every day. And I was like, this is getting ridiculous. So then I was like, I'm going to go back to the gym and lift some weights. And then my ego hit me and I lifted too much. And then I hurt myself. Oh. And then I was back in the pool. And then I was back in the gym. And then I started going to yoga, get my flexibility back so I could kick. And then I got my flexibility back. And then they said, you'll never kick again. And then I was kicking again. They said, you'll never lift heavy weight. And then I had my personal best of benching 160 kilos. And then they said, you'll never squat again. And then they're like, how are you? You're one of the only people we've never seen get arthritis in their hip after the first 2 years of it being injured. How are you doing that? And I was like, squatting.
Doing something.
Doing something.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter what it is, but do something. That's my advice. Do something.
Love it.
Another little piece of advice that I always give everybody, if you have left a toxic relationship and you're in, and it's the same thing, it's do something. If you have just left a toxic relationship or a motorcycle club or whatever it is, you've had a life-changing experience, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you like, you don't know what hobbies you want to do, you don't know anything, Google free trials. Find every single free trial in your area and become the free trial king or queen. Go to every single gym that offers a free trial and try Pilates, try yoga, try Zumba, try the CrossFit. They've all got 2-week free trials. Go to your local karate. Find 10 different karates and use all their free trials. Go anywhere you can get a free trial. Go and try it. Go to line dancing. Go do whatever it is. Use all the free trials. You might not like half the things that you do, but you might fall in love with something that you do.
And,
Go volunteer at a community center. You're meeting people. You're meeting healthy networks. Not only you might find something that you like, but you're finding out what you don't like as well.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yep. And all these things create opportunity. Start studying, learn a language, learn an instrument. You don't have to finish it. Maybe it's not for you, and that's fine. But at least you've tried something and you've met someone and you might like it. So dedicate that 2 years of staying off the porn, of staying off dating sites, of staying single, to doing stuff. Doesn't matter what it is. Go and hit it hard. So see a psychologist. Those are my top 3 things. See a psychologist, work out, do something.
So powerful. Even just the even the bits with going getting free trials, that in itself is powerful, because I never even thought of that myself. I don't want to go and spend a fortune on yoga, but I'd love to give it a go to see if I like it. And you've just given me an idea. I'm going to go for a free trial.
We've got yoga for free at my gym on 4 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Oh, if I'm ever at Tally Street, I'll come over. Easy.
Sweet.
Yeah, I could do that, actually. Definitely could do that. Future plans for you, and the reason why I asked this question, Troy, because just because we're here on the podcast and leading our own way doesn't mean we've done. We're here. We're not finished. The journey doesn't end. What are your future plans?
My future plans are, I want a new facility. I want to expand all my free offerings to being a whole timetable of free services. That's my goal. I want 20 different free things out of there, not just gym. I want karate. I want art classes. I want guitar classes. I want sewing lessons. I want tai chi. I want Qigong. I want sound healing. I want everything. I want everything under the one roof, all for free, that anybody can come to. And if they can't come to it, we'll support you to come to it. That's what I want for career-wise. And for personal-wise, all I want is a little farm. That's all I want. I want to potter around on my tractor. Funnily enough, I would like to back out of social media.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got
people need you, Troy. People need you.
It's gotten me to where I need to be. And I think it's very easy to get sucked up into the likes and the follows and the shares. And I'd like to sort of sink back into being a bit more invisible and just being able to be me, being happy doing what I want, to and fro. We've got a little farm in Thailand now. I'd love to go. We're about to put a little house on there. So I'd love to go I'd love to go and spend some more time with the family over there and spend some time on the farm over there and doing some kickboxing and stuff. And which we're pretty much there. We're going to be trying to put a little house on there this year and stuff. We've got a little rubber farm. I never thought I'd own a rubber farm and a rice farm, but we do.
Wow. Didn't even know they existed.
Yeah. It's funny. I watched a movie when I was younger called Ned, and they're all about these rubber plants. And I was like, what? Oh. And then it turns out I didn't know rubber really does grow on trees. It really does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all people can take away.
Some people are watching this going, that idiot, how didn't he know that rubber grew on trees?
I didn't actually know that.
So they get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and they cut a V in it, and it all comes out like sap, but it's white. It actually looks like milk. And they comes into these little pots, and they have to do it when it's cool, because when it's hot, it's more sticky and it doesn't run out of the tree. Yeah, so they do it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. Learned something new.
There you go. Try and learn something new every day.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
My final question, Troy, is what is your purpose? And it's pretty clear, but I always ask the guest to put it into one powerful line. What would your one powerful line be?
It's a good question. To show people that they can overcome their adversities when they take limiting beliefs out of the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
Troy, it's been an absolute 100% pleasure, and you're welcome back on Leading Our Own Way anytime. It's just been incredible. So we could take, I think we'd have to watch this back a few times just to be able to take the number of pieces. And I've just looked down at my computer and I've got loads of pictures here of you and I've not put them up. But what I will do when I go and edit this, I'm going to pop it up at the moment it makes sense to show it.
Yeah,
if
I was
that makes
thinking, oh
sense.
no, because we were supposed to talk about childhood and relate it to here, and I
We've
don't.
done it.
We done it.
We've
We
Oh yeah, we
okay,
talked about
cool.
childhood. Yeah, we did all your childhood. You've forgotten. You see.
Yeah, I
No,
was like, I
I've
just
got
hope I covered everything that you wanted to be covered.
no. I got my notes. I made sure I pulled you back. Don't you worry. I've done it without you even realizing.
It
No,
was
I
great.
have.
I feel like we could talk for a long time.
Mate, absolutely, and that's why we should come back because I know we can help loads of people with this podcast. I really, really do. I do have one question. You've got it. Actually, brings up the 1%. I'll bring it up now because this won't. I won't be able to put this up at any time. Just before we close down the episode, talk to me a little bit about this.
Beyond the back patch, yeah. So I call that's like an accumulation of everything that I do.
Right, got you.
So it's exactly what I said before about doing all of these things, changing your life, about overcoming adversity. So I've written a couple of courses on trauma.
Yep.
Some of them are short courses. There's a couple of individual modules, and then there's a 20-week course. So because of my background, I get a lot of people messaging me all the time, specifically guys that have left outlaw motorcycle clubs, some people that have left cults, and that sort of thing. And they're like, I've just left. I've got this massive hole, but they might have suicide ideation. And I get these a lot. And they're like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. That's why a lot of people go and join another club, or they go join another industry or something that gives them that, that gives them that identity. So I call it Beyond the Back Patch is the mental health militia. It's Complete Health Geelong, all wrapped up in a bundle.
Love it.
Yeah, all in one.
Love it. That makes
And
sense.
the 40-week course and the 20-week course, that specifically is going to come under the banner of Beyond the Back Patch. Anybody can do it. It's for people that have left abusive relationships and things like that. I just wanted a title that sort of fit what I do and to allow men that have left outlaw motorcycle clubs to give them somewhere to go or know that they've got somewhere to go because there's nothing out there for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whilst we're on this note, though, I do have a couple of articles here, and I'll put this up earlier in the episode as well, so people can see. But you've actually appeared in a few newspaper outlets as well, haven't you? About your journey. So you've been interviewed quite a lot about your journey, and this one's very interesting because of what you look like before the journey you're on now.
Yeah, there's. I did a post. This got pointed out to me a few times. I did this post. I had photos of me from when I was in the club, and then photos of. Oh, the post was about when I was in the toxic relationship, and I showed all these different photos of me, basically my weight loss journey. But the whole time it was when I was going through all this stuff because it all happened consecutively. And there was a heap of people commented on it saying, "Look at your face."
Yeah.
It went from being hollow and empty to smiling and sparkling.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
that's the comments that I was getting. And I looked at them and I was like, wow, it's like you can actually, if you put them in a flip card, it'd be like going from not smiling to smiling. And everyone's like, I had this comment a lot, the sparkle's back in your eyes. That's what I got told a lot. Yeah, so
it's
really
hard for me to understand because I've only ever seen you with a sparkle in your eye. So,
but yeah, so back then I was 163 kilos.
wow. I was going to ask you, what did you go from to? What you don't ask people's weights, but you went from 163. 163, did you say?
Yeah, I was 163, and this morning I was 112.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Would you, just quickly before I do let you go then, because morning routines or just routines, and I know you work in the gym, you don't probably need to reiterate that part, but is there anything that you do at home? I know you mentioned gratitude and things like that. Is there anything that you do to prepare yourself for the day?
Not so much now.
Yeah.
When I was acute and I was going through a lot of stuff, I did have set routines and I did have a set things that I did. So I used to always journal, and I went through this stage of just feeling emotions all the time, crying 24/7, couldn't stop until the point where I was like, enough's enough. I can't just keep living life like this. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to allow an hour every night. An hour every single night. I can absolutely let it all out, cry my eyes out. So what I would do is I journal, and a lot of people journal wrong. They end up monologuing and venting. when you journal, an easy way to stop that is you write, I feel like today I felt this. You need to lead everything with I statements and feel statements. That's the correct way to journal. Otherwise, you just end up venting and monologuing about your day. So make sure you do I feel statements. And then I'd cry my eyes out, and then I would do self-tapping, so I taught myself how to do self-tapping. So I'd do that 3 times. So it'd just be like banging here, banging here, here. And I'll take myself through that process. And do you want me to take you through that?
Sure.
Yeah. So how you do self-tapping is you tap yourself in the top of the head and you do it really hard. Oh. Yep. And then right above the eye, really hard. Then under the eye in this little bit here. And then under here. So we're trying to hit all these pressure points under here. And then right in this bit here, this pony bit. And then you lift up your arm and straight into the lat. Into your lat. Yep. So the idea is to do it really hard. Yeah. And can you feel that in your face now?
A little bit, yeah.
It's lingering?
Yeah.
So it helps get you out of your head.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a mindfulness technique. So the idea is to do it pretty hard. And what I got to the stage where I ended up doing so you can feel it. Yeah. It just stays
there. A bruise tomorrow like a peach.
So I used to do it with some affirmations. So I used to be like, I love myself. I do care, and all this sort of stuff. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And then I'd give myself a big hug and I'd be like, I'm never leaving you again. I left you in childhood and I'm not going anywhere now. I'm here for you. I'm never going anywhere. And then I'd be like, oh, the hour's up. I'm done. Cool. Now I've got to go play guitar. I've got to go, try and do something else. I've got to go and do something. Oh, I've got to write my goals for tomorrow, because if I don't write my goals down, I'm going to be thinking about them the whole time I'm trying to sleep. If I write them down, they're going to be out of my head and I can stop thinking about them.
I've never looked at it anything like that before. And I've never heard of a practice like that before either. Everything you've just said, from the tapping to even just the way you said writing it down. You're right. You do say it that's probably why I've had so many racing thoughts, because I never, until I wrote the book, I never journaled anything. I actually used to look at it as quite good. I don't mean it now, and horribly, you can't say this anymore, but I did back at the time, just being honest. I looked at it as being girly. I'm not writing that shit down. I've got it out. I've spoken to a bloke. I'm good. But I sat in it for years.
Yeah. I don't journal now, but when I was acute, I did that for 6 weeks, every night for 6 weeks, when I was really, really acute. Yeah. There's one little quote that I do say to myself daily. That's what I tend to do more so now. Every night at 8 o'clock, I have a hot drink. That's my bedtime. I go to bed pretty early every night, 9:30. So that's sort of my structure. I will try and work out or walk every morning or go to the pool. I still do my hydrotherapy now. That will never stop. Or whether it's yoga as well, I do that as well. But this saying that I tell myself all the time, whenever I'm getting really stressed, whenever I'm getting really overwhelmed, I say to myself, what is the solution to this problem? As soon as I stop focusing on the problem, I stop stressing. As soon as I stop focusing on the problem, it doesn't overwhelm me. I'm making myself bigger than the problem. Because when you start acting, you've got no time to be depressed and stuff. It's like, okay, how do I solve this issue? What can I learn from this issue? Because if I learn from it, I haven't failed. And if I'm acting on it, I'm doing something about it, which means I don't have to procrastinate on it and constantly think about it. So if you ever want a saying that you want to stick out of this, what is the solution to this problem? And if you find yourself making excuses without change, there's a problem. If you find yourself venting without change, there's a problem. If you find yourself not changing and constantly stressed, there's a problem. And if you just make it, and every hour, if you're constantly doing those things, make it every single time you do it, because they're unconscious patterns of behavior. So you need to change them by a conscious pattern of behavior until it becomes unconscious.
Yes.
So the more you do that, and you have to actively do it. So I'll be stressed and I'll be like, okay, what is the solution? I know I'm going to do A, B, and C. Cool. Now I can act on it. Now I don't need to think about the problem anymore because I'm taking action to get rid of it.
Love it. Well, great piece of advice. Yeah. I'm so glad we didn't end the episode 10, 15 minutes ago, because people now need to tune in for the full 2 hours, because that's a powerful way, isn't it, to end? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Love it. Troy, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. We need another session, I think.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was worried. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. When you told me how long it was going to be, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fill that up.
No. Oh, yeah. Well, we've doubled it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to split this. I'll just split it. This is not a problem. I'm going to split this into 3 parts: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you're listening, guys, we're at the end of Wednesday now. So we've had Monday and Tuesday. So go back and listen to part 1 and 2. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to come on again. Yeah, no worries.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'd love to be a part of your journey. I'll try and get down to some of your events as well. I've always got after school sports with my son and stuff like that, so it's always really hard, but I'll definitely try and make an effort to come down to be a part of your journey. And I know you got a few events coming up that I'd love to be a part of as well, and I think we can have a good time and go and help some other people with their lives as well. So yeah. Thank you so much for joining on Leading Our Own Way. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an honour to meet you as well. And we don't even live that far away from each other either, so we can always catch up for do you have a coffee? Do you drink coffee at all?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have 1 coffee every morning, and that's it. Otherwise, I start getting anxiety.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
You see,
Well, you've got all the tools to deal with it anyway.
Well, that's right, yeah.
Troy, thank you, mate, and can't wait for the episode to come out. Been a pleasure. Thanks for joining me on Leading Our Own Way.
Pleasure, thank you.
To everybody else, from Troy and myself, make sure you come back next week for another amazing guest and another amazing, inspiring journey, and hopefully you can take pieces away from them just like you did from Troy this evening. Have a great weekend and keep leading your own way. Bye for now. Troy Koerntjes' story. I hope I'm saying that right, by the way, Troy, because it doesn't spell how it sounds. But Troy's story shows us that, the best parts of who we are can be transformed into something even greater. The loyalty, the support, and the genuine care he experienced in his motorcycle club, Brotherhood, became the foundation for his work as a counsellor and community advocate. His gym, his outreach, his dedication to creating safe spaces, it all stems from understanding that we're meant to support each other through life's toughest battles. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Remember, the connection we make and the communities we build can become our greatest sources of strength and healing. Keep leading your own way, and never forget, no one has to face their struggles alone. Until next week for another amazing guest, please follow the show here on Spotify and Apple and give us a 5-star review where possible. Have a great weekend. Keep leading your own way. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening and watching Leading Our Own Way. So we can stay together forever and share more incredible journeys, please subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss next week's episode and what that amazing guest has to offer to the world. Please support Leading Our Own Way, and we'll get you on next week's episode.